And I got my homeboy Pete Frank with me. And we letting everybody know we got a dream. Yo, stay focused. Keep moving forward. It's on the way. Keep that dream alive. If you got a dream, don't look to the left, nor the right, nor the wrong.
Your faith is in Jesus. Completion is here before you even begin. Dreaming big of my life in the future. Already knowing that it's not far. Having the passion to work towards Jesus. I'm gonna keep my faith and swagger going hard. Don't turn the light. Just push straight. You don't have to fear more.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. I am your host, Dr. Yolanda Jerry, and I'm excited about a guest that I'm going to be having on tonight because not only is she someone that I mentor, but she's also someone who's been a part of one of my anthologies. But tonight, we're not talking about those books. We're talking about, in my experience with her, but we're talking about her story, about how she smiled through depression, which is a chapter in a book that she just recently was a part of as well. So again, thank you so much for tuning into the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. Please share this broadcast out. Invite a friend, a family member, someone who you know who may be battling depression and just don't know how to keep smiling through it all. And then look, all I got to say is the lady is going to share her heart tonight and probably give you some nuggets and some tools to be able to take away to know that, you know, we all may struggle with depression sometimes, but we should smile and keep going because life is worth living. So again, share this broadcast and we will be right back.
Welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, where you will hear stories from people who have experienced hell on earth and have walked past hell to share their stories. You will also hear what they are doing now and how their businesses, nonprofits, and ministries were birthed from their past trauma. So let's empower the world, one story at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Yolanda Jerry.
And we're back. So happy Thursday again. I am Dr. Yolanda Jerry, the host of the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. And so listen, let me just give you a little background about this young lady before I bring her up onto the screen so you all can see her beautiful face and hear her beautiful voice. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get into it. The gift of inspiration is one of the most significant traits of a natural born leader. Having the courage to live out values, integrity, discipline, and transparency in the face of a generation on the verge of malfeasance is an honored rarity assumed by few. Brenda Young is an international best-selling author, professional life coach, correctional captain. I'm going to say it again. Correctional captain. Yeah, you heard me right. Women's advocate, business generalist, CPR instructor, and the CEO and founder of Babs Jewels LLC. Brenda's mantra is simple. She believes her sole purpose in life is to inspire and be inspired by women uplifting one another. So there you have it, Brenda Young, leader, advocate, and inspirationalist. So we're about to bring this queen up onto the stage and to the show. All right. There she is. What's going on, Miss Brenda Young?
Hey, Dr. J.
How you doing?
I am great. Can't complain.
All right. You looking beautiful today. You looking good.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Well, I want to say welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show and thank you for being here. It's an honor to always be blessed by your presence. And I know tonight's show is about I Smile Through Depression. But before we get into that, I want to say hello to some of the people who are tuning in right now. We have Paula Shea Queen Favre. We also have Christy Gilner. We have Pastor Frank Henderson. We have Robin Colleen. And if you're just now tuning in, please make sure you drop in the chat, in the comments, who you are, so that way we can make sure that we try to recognize you. If I don't verbally say it, I'll also make sure that your comments pop up on the screen. So thank you all for being here. Please share this broadcast, and we're about to get into the show. So Brenda Young. Look, you know, I always start off my show with asking my guests to tell us a little bit about where they're from, a little bit about their childhood, so we can kind of lead into, you know, part of the story that you're going to share for the rest of the night. So if you don't mind, let us know, outside of what was up in this bio, who is Brenda Young?
Well, let's see. Well, I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri, Berkeley, Missouri. I grew up with me and one biological brother, but I have several step siblings. Just us two and a single parent. I graduated 2001, so get on up there, 20-something plus years out. I joined the military shortly after 2005. Stayed in the military for 8.5 years. I'm currently in Mississippi, where I'm loving and residing with my husband and a bonus mom to 4. Wraps it up. I'm just about living my life now.
Wow. Well, look, I know you can see you always want to sit here and just sugarcoat who you really are. But I'm gonna let you tell it, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there. You need to tell the audience what was your most recent accomplishment. How you gonna leave that out?
Recently, I was getting to it. Well, recently I graduated from the part-time police academy for Mississippi. Was one of them goals that I set for myself to advance my career in my 9-to-5. So that was one of my next journeys. So I accomplished that here recently in February.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations are in order. Look, let me tell you something. Being at the age you are, I don't think I would have been able to go through that, knowing that you had to still do physical training. You still had to get up wee hours in the morning. Let me tell you, I left that alone in 2014, and I ain't trying to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning no more. So kudos to you.
It was not easy. It was not easy at all. And I was the oldest female there, but I did it. I pushed myself to get through it, and I made it.
Now, I do want to highlight this point, though, even though, you know, it wasn't easy and you pushed through. I want you to tell the audience, because I remember seeing this number. Tell them, how many did your class start with and how many did you all finish with?
Okay, so we started with 23 people. The first day, one person didn't make it through because they were running late and they told them to go home. By the time we graduated, it was 6 of us. So we started with 23 and ended with 6.
Do y'all hear that? So that goes to let y'all know that the police academy is not playing. Like, they want, just like the military, you know, when we was coming through the Air Force, they want the best of the best. If you can make it through that entire test, that's the ones we keeping. If you look like you're not gonna make it, they'll go ahead and just let you go. So congratulations, Brenda. I just wanted to make sure I highlight that accomplishment, because it ain't a lot of women that I know that goes and make it through the police academy. At least not that I personally know.
Right.
Good stuff. Way to go. Julie says, congratulations, way to go. Paula says, I'm proud of you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Robin says, congrats. And Julie Stewart say, hey, bonus mom. So thanks for sharing that little tidbit more about who you are. So let's get into talking about tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is I smile through depression. And so having said that, now I know some of us, you know, I'm not gonna say many people have had to deal with depression in some part of their life.
Right.
Some people know how to maneuver through depression. Some people don't, but then some people know, okay, they know the necessary things they need to put in place to make sure they don't stay there. So having said that, I want you to go ahead and share a little bit about, you know, some of the depressive states that you had gone through. And then we'll go, as you tell the story later on, we'll talk about, how you got through all of that.
So the most traumatic thing that made me go through depression, and I didn't even realize it, was the death of my brother. In 2002, he was killed. I was on my way to pick him up, literally in the car, had made a pit stop to get somebody to go with me because it was dark and I'm still young, fresh driving, did not want to go on the other side of town by myself to pick him up. So I stopped. And the next call I got was, you need to get here right now. Your brother got stabbed and we don't know if he's going to make it. By the time I got to the hospital, he was gone. They would not let me in the hospital to even say goodbye. When I looked up, my biological daddy was running down the street acting a fool. So that is what I believe started it. And it's like I covered it up so much, doing everything else and not focusing on it, that it was like, okay, I'm just gonna live and not deal with it. So that was one of them moments. And for 18 years, this is what I'm dealing with, off and on. Every now and then when I start thinking about him, then it hits me. But I had to figure out ways to keep myself going because I couldn't just live in the grief. It's all right to grieve, but I couldn't just keep myself locked, because if I did that, I was going to be stuck in that one place, not knowing what I was going to do next. So that for me was the most traumatic part of where I think it began at.
So Brenda, knowing that was that your only sibling?
That was my only sibling, my only biological sibling.
Wow. So not only was that your only biological sibling and your brother, I know most times we feel like our brothers are our, protectors and all those different things. So that's probably something else you had to deal with. But you mentioned that, and what I keyed in on is you kept yourself busy so you didn't have to think about it.
Right.
You kept doing things so you wouldn't have to worry about going through the grieving process.
Right.
And I don't think sometimes people know that that's really the wrong thing to do.
Right. And I didn't know that at the time, but that was my way of dealing with it and not living through it. And rather than getting help then, I worked 3 jobs, went to school. I was a track coach at the time. And it was just like, okay, I'm going to pile all this stuff on so I don't have to deal with that, to keep my mind from getting idle on the fact that my brother wasn't there. And not dealing with the fact that nobody ever asked me how I felt.
That's a hard thing to digest. When you know that someone has gone through a traumatic experience, such as losing a loved one, and they see people will see that you keeping it moving, assuming that you're okay.
Right.
Instead of really wondering, is she really okay? Because she's keeping herself so busy. Or maybe I should reach out. Some people see right past that and don't see that as a red flag. You know what I mean? They don't see it as a red flag.
And it was never, okay, well, she's working all the time, but let me stop to just pick up the phone for 5 seconds. Just say, hey, you good? It was none of that. So I figured out ways to, I'm going to keep myself busy to even keep from worrying about whether or not somebody's going to check on me.
Wow. Wow. I'm sorry you had to go through that. So I will say this, though, you did have a good support system because your husband is there with you, right?
Right.
So how was he throughout this? Even though, your other people that you probably thought should have checked on you, how was he with you going through this process of the loss of your brother?
So my husband came later on in life after my brother died. So I didn't meet my husband till 2010. So by this time I had already been dealing with it for a few years. And that was that one person that came in And every day you're, hey, you good? You all right? You making sure I'm straight every day. And even now, the first thing we ask each other in the morning is, hey, are you okay? You good? You need anything? That is every day. It's not one day unless he's deployed somewhere that with the first call in the morning, because he drives trucks, is not asking, are you all right? And even when he's deployed, that first message in the morning is, hey, good morning, are you okay?
Wow, that's good to have somebody supportive like that. Now I'll go back. I'm gonna rewind because I didn't know that you lost your brother before he came into the
Yeah.
picture. So how did this open? Because I'm sure you didn't like outright come in and tell him that you lost a brother and you dealing with the loss of your brother. How was that opened up to him?
I told him that my brother died, but I didn't tell him about the depression part. So we talked about, when we're getting to know each other, I disclosed, I had a brother, he was killed, but I never told him, all my deep feelings and all that stuff until later on. And then when I decided that I was going to try to go get therapy is when I really started talking to him about how I felt. And he was like, man, why you haven't been saying nothing? And that's just me. It's one of them coping mechanisms that when I get into my feelings, I shut down and
Mm,
I get quiet and I don't talk about it.
wow.
And that's my way of dealing with it. I would rather deal with it by myself than talk to people who will judge me or go talk about my business to everybody else.
At least that's what you thought, huh? Back
Right.
then.
Right.
I get it. I get it. I mean, I've been in that same headspace before, so I definitely get it. But I'm glad to know that even when you did finally open up, he was able to be there for you. And the fact that he showed the intention, the intentionality of saying, you know what, I need to make sure my wife is good. Because
Right.
if I
Every
don't,
day.
the rest of her day is going to be like crap, right? So it's
Right.
like, let me make sure that I do my part in jump starting her day off well. And if there's something that is bothering her, I know she's going to tell me and we'll deal with it together.
Right.
That's amazing. Well, Brenda, look, we're going to go into some more of this I Smile Through Depression because I know there's some other chapters, that you've dealt with too as well. So we'll get a little bit more into that right after our commercial break, okay? All right, all right. We are back. So, for those of you who are just now tuning into the show, welcome to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. That particular commercial was sponsored by, of course, none other than yourself, Dr. Yolanda Jerry, YG Empowerment Solutions. Those are the men who are part of the anthology that were just released this year, My Walk Past Hell, Volume 2, The Men. So, Men Walk Past Hell as well. So if you want to check out the book, you can go to www.hiswalkpasthell.com or you can go to my website, IamYolandaJerry.com. All right. So Brenda, look, we got the part about you, having to lose your brother and having to deal with that. And then, of course, your husband being very supportive. And you mentioned something about therapy. But that was just only the beginning. You said the beginning stages of having to smile through depression and having to cope. So, what else did you have to go through, or what other season in your life do you want to share where you had to continue to smile through depression?
So this particular season is trying to develop a relationship with a parent who doesn't want to be there. After my brother died, I decided, well, I need to reach out to my dad because I am an only child. If something happens, then everybody's going to be looking for me to come out financially. And I just don't feel like that if I don't have a relationship with you, that I should be responsible for anything you got going on. And I made the decision to reach out. And in doing that, some conversations was had and some feelings was hurt because I said what was on my mind and it didn't go the way he thought it was going to go because he tried to blame me for him not being there. And the conversation was, "Oh, you forgot you disowned me." And the first thing I said was, "I'm not the parent. It is not my responsibility to make sure that we have a relationship moving forward. You got to put in the effort. If I at least tried to have some kind of relationship with you and you decide that you don't want that, make that known. Don't try to, and I'm trying to figure out the word for it, but don't try to lead me on thinking, okay, well, we're going to try to build this bond when you really don't want it. If you don't want it, it is what it is. But as your only child, it's my responsibility to make sure that my parents are straight, even if I really don't want to do it. But that pushed me into a whole nother area of feeling rejected. And that phone call led to my husband saying, hang up that phone because that's not what we're about to do. You're not going to blame your child for you not being responsible.
Wow. That's got to be a tough pill to swallow, knowing that you were the one being blamed, or you were the one that had to, cultivate this relationship, when really it's the parents that should be looking at trying to maintain that connection with the child. Because as we get older, it's like, if you had a relationship with your children, they're gonna eventually need you.
Exactly.
So
And
wow.
the way I look at it is life is a full circle. They take care of us as babies, and then as they get older, we're responsible for making sure that they're okay. But I can't make sure you're okay if I don't know you. I haven't had him in my life since I was like 7. I'll be 40 this year. His birthday is 9 days after mine. So what do you expect me to do, or how do you expect me to go forward with you if I don't know you? I don't know you well enough to tell you that, yeah, you're my dad, but I love you. I don't love you because I don't know you. We don't have that kind of relationship or that kind of connection to where I can share my feelings with you and be okay with it. I can't do that.
Wow. And that's got to be a heavy burden to carry sometimes, knowing that it's been years and you still don't know your dad.
Right.
Has any communication tried to happen since, the last blow up or the last conversation?
You know what's funny is I get a text message on my birthday, Valentine's Day this year, Mother's Day, Christmas. It was one other day. So he texts me like 4, 5 times out the year. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I'm not going to beg you to be a part of my life. I've been married for nearly 12 years now. You don't know my husband. You don't know my children. You don't know really anything about me. I went through the military for 8.5 years. You missed all of that. Like all of those things you missed, but will take credit for what I did. No, no, sir. Don't take credit for something you had nothing to do with.
Isn't it amazing how some people or some parents, they are something else when it comes to wanting to take credit, be like that, like
That's my baby.
let you have a proud moment, or let you have an accomplishment, and they'd be like, that's my baby. Yeah, that's my child. Okay, but
What's crazy is I don't harbor any ill feelings because
that's
I
good.
don't know what you went through in your life to make you not want to be a parent. I cannot sit up and hold ill feelings because I don't know you to have the ill feelings. Like I said, you have not been in my life since I was 7. So it's like I had to let my life go on. Once I reached out and decided that I was going to attempt and you didn't want to try, no love lost. It is what it is.
Wow. I'm glad you said that, though, saying that you don't have no ill feelings. Of course, there's some part of you that's just like, maybe one day you would hope that you have that relationship, but you're okay with not having that
Right.
relationship because this is the the path that he chose, and this is something that you had to learn to accept. And a lot of times some people will let things like that hold on to them. And then when you hold on to such things as that, it'll filter over into your own family.
Right.
You don't realize that you're hurting your own family. And I only
Exactly.
say that because I had that same type of thing going on in my family, where it's just like, one of me and one of my family members don't speak no more, but I was always there for them. But
Right.
it comes a time where it's like, what, enough is enough. I'm a love you from a distance. I don't wish no ill will on you. I don't know what you got going on, but I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm at peace,
Right.
because if you don't find peace in the midst of all that, it'll continue to haunt you. It'll continue to bother you. And then it will continue to drag you down the road to going into depression. And the depression will be because you're allowing somebody to put you there.
Exactly. And for me, I would have almost rather you just not talk to me at all. Because when you don't talk to me, I don't know. But when you open the door and try to build with somebody and then you just stop, then you're opening up all of these wounds to resurface and do whatever it is it's going to do and cause all these feelings to harbor and leave negative energy in a space that was positive at some point.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Well, I'm glad to hear that, like you said, no ill feelings. You're good with it, and you just continue to push forward even through that. Like you say, I smile through depression, but I really don't think that it's just you smiling through depression. You just choosing you choosing
Right.
you. You know what I mean? And it's just like now you figured out how to maneuver. So if I do see myself getting depressed, I know how to deal with it. I know how to
Exactly.
cope with it. So, um, let's talk about this. I smile through depression. I know that you just dropped a book, right? Called Cage Fight, where this is actually titled your chapter. And so, before we get to that, you also were a part of My Walk Past Hell Volume 1. And so you share one piece of your story there. Is that something that you already shared here before we move on?
No.
So tell us a little bit about the My Walk Past Hell, not the whole thing, because we want people to buy the book from you. But what did you talk
So
about in that particular chapter?
in my walk past hell, I shared how my bonus kid saved my life. Basically, I deal with polycystic ovarian syndrome, to where my doctors believe that I can't have children physically. And I used to beat myself up trying to figure out, okay, well, what kind of procedure can I go get to see if I can do it? And I had to stop. I had to take a step back and realize I have 4 beautiful bonus babies that love me to life. And it was that tipping point to where, okay, you're already blessed. I may not have physically had them, but I'll fight you over them 4 kids. At any given moment, if one of them call and say, "Mama, I need," I'm on my way. I just got off the phone with my son a little while ago, and he was saying he wanted to go do something. I said, "Baby, do I need to cancel my plans and come hang out with you? Because I'll do it." I got plans this weekend, but if you want me to cancel everything that I'm doing, I will stop what I'm doing to come make sure you're straight. And all he want to do is go eat crab legs. So,
He a foodie like me. Okay.
right. But in my walk past hell, I talked about that and how I got to the point of where I realized that those kids blessed my life. And most people think of the stepmom as the mean person, and the stepmom do this to them. I'm gonna go to bat for them 4 all day, every day.
I believe it. And what's good about hearing this is because there's some people who, like you said, can't have children of their own. But there's so much joy that'll come to you when you're taking care of children that aren't yours,
Right.
whether it's from a spouse or whether it's foster kids, because foster kids need love too. You know what I mean? And there's so much that you can, so much joy you can put into them, but then there's also so much joy that they can put into you. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And eventually that step word goes out the window, and it's just my
We don't
kid.
even we don't even use the word step around here. I'm bonus mom, and we don't even use that really. That's just for the outside people. I'm mama all day long. When they with me, you can't tell that I'm a step parent.
Right, right. Because you don't go around saying, "Oh, this is my stepdaughter. This is
Right.
my
That's my
stepdaughter."
baby.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
good stuff. That's good stuff. And some people need to hear that. Just especially when it comes to blended families.
Right.
And I know it's not easy to have a blended family. At all, because then you also got to deal with the outlining factors of the other biological parent, or the other
Right.
families and stuff like that. Did you have to deal with any of those issues?
It wasn't always easy. I'll leave it at that. It wasn't always easy, but my son's mama is one of my best friends.
Wow.
And a lot of people expected us not to like each other. And that goes with my daughter's mom too. A lot of people expected us not to like each other for whatever reason. People don't want you to get along, don't want the wife and the ex to get along, but that's not the case because it's not about us. It's about these kids and making sure that they have everything that they need and most of the stuff that they want because the children are spoiled, but it's not about us. And I can honestly say if I needed something that I could call either one of them and be okay. When I got sick and they thought I had cancer, my son mama said, "Hey, um, you can come stay here if you need to, if they tell you you gotta have a surgery." And it's just that simple. If I need her, I know I can pick up the phone and go, "Hey, I need such and such. Can we go do whatever?" And she's like, "Okay, I got you. Come on."
That's
And
good. That's good. Because a lot of people don't have that type of relationship with, once they moved on to another relationship. It's just
right,
like, the exes and go at the other exes, or they do everything to try to mess up, what's going on in your current relationship or current marriage. So thank you for being that light and putting that message out that, co-parenting can happen. You
right,
know, co-parenting can happen, and you can have a relationship with that ex-wife or that ex-husband, because it's all about the kids. Like Paula Farr said, she said it's all about the kids. And like you
right.
said, it's not about you. It's not about your husband. It's about them children. They come first. So wow, thanks for sharing that. So now let's move on to the cage fight.
All right. So cage fight. So cage fight. My chapter is called "I Smile Through Depression." In my chapter, I talk about my brother. I talk about how what made me realize I was going through depression. And just to sum that up, my mom got sick. And I'm sitting there like, well, okay, well, what you gonna do next? I had to figure it out. I'm calling, I'm sending messages. Hey, can anybody get there till I get there? Now, mind you, I live in Mississippi. My mom was in Kansas City, Missouri. That's a 15-hour drive. How you gonna get there? And the first thing I did was call you and was like, sis, I got a problem. I need to figure out how I'm going to deal with this situation. And nobody could get to her. And 24 hours later, I was on a flight on my way to Kansas City. I had to pack her up and move her here. And that was that tipping point of I have nobody other than my husband, and he couldn't go because of a military obligation. So it was like, okay, now what? What you gonna do? So that was a tipping point of me deciding to go to therapy because I was like, I'm about to lose my mind. So in Cage Fight, I talk about my brother. I talk about dealing with the situation with my mom and how 18 years of undiagnosed depression had built up in less than 24 hours.
Oh my gosh.
So in less than my mama called me on I want to say it was a Tuesday. On a Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, I was on a flight up out of here. You know, I was blowing you up, sis. I need to talk. I don't know what I'm about to do. I gotta figure it out. So that's when I decided that therapy was my next step. When I got back to Mississippi with my mom, I decided I needed to go. And I had already been in the works with my primary to for her to recommend me to a therapist because I was already deciding that I wanted to go, but that was that push. That was that nudge that said, "Hey, it is time for you to go and get all of this off of your chest." And so in Cage Fight, I pretty much summed up all of that. And it's a lot to sum up in one chapter, but I got it out somehow in them 1,500 words. And it was like, it was such a relief. And a lot of people don't get it. One paragraph can make you change your whole outlook on a lot of things that you've been through. But one chapter, I blew it out the water and it was like, okay, I've been good since because I go to therapy. I started out with twice a month, and then I because of my work schedule, I dropped it down to once a month. But now that I'm done with the academy and I just have work, I think I'm gonna go back twice a month. So that was that thing that made me get out there and be like, okay, you can do this. You wrote about this. It's all right. So cage fight was that knockout to go ahead and overcome all of those obstacles that I was dealing with.
Wow, isn't it something how, like you said, all these years, and it's like you suppressing so much stuff that you thought you could handle, right? And it only takes that significant,
One incident.
one significant incident or event to just bring it all back up out of you. And then
Right.
it's just like, you know what? You feel like you're melting. You're on fire.
Especially when it's something that you don't know how to handle. I'm not strong because I want to be. I'm strong because I have to be. And it's because of everything that I've dealt with in my life. I'm 40. I'm not that old. I'm not that old. So in the 40, okay, let's just say 20 something years, because before 18, I ain't had no trouble, no worries. But in those few years, the stuff that I had to deal with, it made me stronger because I tried to figure out ways to keep going, even while dealing with it.
Wow. Well, all I can say is thank God for therapy and thank God for you realizing that, you know what? I need to go get help. Because guess what, Brenda? At the end of the day, if you didn't decide to admit that you needed help, guess what would have happened?
Backtracking and probably be somewhere losing my mind.
And then if you lose your mind, where does that leave your children and your husband?
Exactly. I'm no good to them if I can't help myself.
That's right. That's
And
right.
the one thing I did learn, I had to learn how to be okay with not being invited. I had to learn how to be okay with people not calling to check on me. I had to be okay with learning how to say no.
Mm,
I had to learn how to be okay with not always being around everybody and learn how to be okay with not always going. I had to get to a place to where, okay, stop, take a breath, and relax.
mm-hmm.
And that was the hardest thing for me is because I was always on the go. I was always moving around and always trying to figure out, okay, what's my next move? How am I do this? How am I do that? And God said, you know what? Stop, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Just stop.
Yeah. And I always tell people, you know, it's okay to grieve. People think that grieving is just for somebody dying. You can grieve your past life. You can grieve from losing a relationship with somebody. You can grieve from learning how to say no when you used to being a people pleaser. You can grieve through because it's all a process that you have to go through to get yourself to a better place. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's painful. It's really
Right.
painful. But the end result is you would be more at peace, number one. Number two, you're taking care of self, inner self, not outer self, because outer self, you can make yourself look like anybody,
Right.
on the outside, but still be dying on the inside. So you decide to take care of inner self. But then the other part is you listen to God. He was like, no, daughter, you got to stop. So listening even to the Holy Spirit, that speaks volumes, because sometimes people, they ignore that.
Right. And then the one thing for me is I had to learn how to listen to my body. And
Ooh, that's important.
most people don't realize your body is gonna tell you when you need to slow down. Okay, I got a bad right ankle. I got a bad right knee. My back hurts every blue moon. I'm 40. I should not be having this many body issues. So I had to learn how to listen to everything that was going on with me and figure out ways how to do things without hurting myself, without overdoing it and overstressing myself, because stress will kill you.
That's
And
true.
I hated being on blood pressure medicine. So I figured out how to get off of blood pressure medicine. So it was okay, exercise, try to eat right. I ain't gonna say I always eat right, but I try to eat right. I ain't reading the Bible like I should, but I do. But I learned how to watch the company that I keep around me. I learned stop listening to junk and listen to more meaningful things and things that's going to motivate me to make it through the day. I learned how to not overreact to situations that I should probably react in a negative manner, smile and keep it moving. Because if I give you the reaction that you want, I'm going to be stressing myself out.
I always say every action don't deserve a response. Sometimes it's just bow out gracefully.
And sometimes the best response is no response. I leave people on red all the time.
Oh, don't I know that so well? But that's true. All that is a part of setting boundaries.
And them boundaries. Yes, baby, them boundaries. I had to figure out how to set boundaries because I was always yes, 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 and letting people get away with things that they probably should have never got away with. But then when I realized that people don't respect your boundaries, I had to start cutting people off. And most of the people that got cut off are people that I've been knowing most of my life. So boundaries are something serious.
But hey, at the end of the day, they ain't gotta respect you, when it comes to not talking to them or anything, but they gonna respect them boundaries. You ain't got no choice, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that set them boundaries.
Exactly.
So that's good. I'm glad you put that out there, Brenda. And then the part about, just taking a time to know your body. I'm one of those people. If people say, "Dang, how you do so much? Why are you doing this and why are you doing that?" I say, what y'all don't realize is sleep is important. I don't care what nobody say. And Brenda, well, don't call me before 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly.
Why? Because I'm the one that works late in the day and works throughout the day in the evening into the midnight
Right.
hours. But I'm gonna get at least my 8 hours of sleep. If I go to sleep 2 o'clock in the morning, you best believe I ain't getting out that bed till 10 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. And that was me when I worked night shift. When I first started corrections, I used to work night shift. I worked night shift for almost 4 years. And people do not realize when you work in 12 hours, I don't want to hear my phone at 8 o'clock in the morning. Because I'm at work from 6 at night to 6 in the morning. Why are you calling me at 8 when you know I just got off?
That's right. And learn how to turn. Look, let me sit here and say, learn how to silence them notifications. Because if anybody know, like I know, I'm a busy person, but I will put you on mute
Quickly.
really quick. Brenda know. Look, she know. Paula know. The people that I'm into, they know. I'll put you on silent. If you need me, you better call me if you got my number, because otherwise you go on silent and mute after a certain time. Because at the end of the day, if I'm not setting that boundary for you, you're going to continue to reach out to me. And I'm not about to do that. So guess what? Your messages stay unread until I wake up. So, Good stuff with the setting boundaries. Well, Brenda, I'm going to go to another commercial break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the things that you have going on, talk about how people can reach out to you for the books that you have and anything else that you want people to know, and also offer some words of encouragement and some tips to help people to continue to even smile through depression, but also just not stay stuck there.
Right.
Make sure they know what it's like to choose you and choose me and take care of me. So we'll be right back. And tonight's show is sponsored by GoFig Company. That company and their team are amazing. I say that because I can vouch for them. They help me look great. They help me with my system. So if you're looking for somebody to get your graphics together, get your website together, help you put on a conference or a summit, help you with any automation needs, GoFig Company is the way to go. So you can reach out to them at www.gofig.com. Again, that is www.geauxfig.com. All right, Brenda. So before I sit there and say that, those of you who are just now tuning in to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show, thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. Please share this broadcast. Make sure you go back and watch the replay if you haven't watched it from the beginning, because our guest tonight, Brenda Young, has shared her heart and been sharing her story about how she continued to smile through depression, to where it got to a point to where enough was enough and she had to seek help for herself. And now she's in a new season. So, Brenda, now let's tell everybody what you got going on, girl. What you have coming up and anything else you want the listening and viewing audience to know. And then close us out with some encouragement, thoughts, or words.
What I got going on now. So I am still writing, more projects on the way. More projects on the way. Today, I enrolled in school to finish my bachelor's in 2 departments. So I'm going to get a bachelor's in business management and criminal justice. So I'm just pushing myself to reach those goals that I said a long time ago, that I said I was going to be done. Hey, Rita, that I said I was going to be done with a long time ago, but I'm reaching them. And you're never too old to go back to school or to learn a new trade or learn something new. Push yourself to be the best you for you. The one thing I had to realize is I had to put me first. It's all right to say no. It's okay to say, I need some time. Give me a break. But the one thing I had to do was learn how to keep pushing for me and to be healthy, both mentally and physically, for me and my family. So the best advice I can tell people is to get on some prayer. Thank God for your blessings and just keep moving. Don't sit still and become idle, because that's the devil's playground. But just keep going, y'all. You can do it. You deserve you. You're worth it. You are enough.
That's some good encouraging words. And I'm glad that you said mentally and physically. And I'm going to add on there spiritually. She said, God still, she ain't quite there yet. But look, y'all know.
He's still working on me.
Look, God's still working on her. And he got this other person on the side of her too. So she going to be there. We going to make sure she stay grounded. She got some people that's covering her even when she don't think nobody's covering her. So Brenda, tell people, how can they connect with you?
So you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/BabsJules LLC. You can also hit my website at IamBrendaYoung.com, where you can order your copy of My Walk Past Hell and Cage Fight. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn at I Am Brenda Young.
All right. Now, You know I'm gonna sit here and put it out there because you just skipped something that's coming up at the end of this month. So you need to go and put that out there.
Hold on. I'm also an ambassador for I'm an elite ambassador, I should say, for the Level Up conference that's coming up at the end of the month.
And how can people view you? Because you ain't you ain't telling it all, y'all. Let me just go and put her out there. Brenda Young is speaking at the Level Up Summit. Not only she speaking, she is also an elite ambassador. So you don't want to miss this young lady share more about herself at Level Up Summit 2022. And oh, by the way, we just dropped the bomb today. The keynote speaker is none other than the legendary Jody Watley. I'm gonna say that again, Jody Watley. So, baby, look, let me tell you, y'all need to go ahead. Those people that are ambassadors watching right now, go ahead and drop that website up in the comment section so I can pop that up on the screen. Make sure that you all register today. See, look, I know. See how we gonna get you together, Brenda.
I'm learning. I'm still coming out of my shell with everything. So, new processes, becoming a better me. I'm learning to open up more about myself.
That's right. So look, if y'all want to know who's driving this horse behind this person becoming more visible, this right here. So look,
every day, every morning, 50 times a day. Yes, we talking all day long. I cannot thank you enough for being that person.
Oh, well, thank you. Look, I only want what's best for everybody else because it's like this. If I'm out there shining, I'm gonna make sure that the people that I'm attached to is shining. So if I'm mentoring you, I'm not gonna only make sure that I'm pushing you, but I'm gonna make sure that you are visible as well. So if I feel like you team sleeping on me, I'm gonna be like, what's going on, Brenda? I'm gonna be like, what's going on, Paula? What's going on, Christy? I would even do it to look my executive assistant, be like, what's going on, exec? What's happening? Because I ain't heard nothing from you today. But that's just how I am. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you all don't hear from me, y'all doing it to me. So it's like a reciprocal relationship that we continue to make sure that we keep each other encouraged. We make sure that we pray for each other, and we make sure that we hold each other accountable, and then have fun along the way. It ain't always all business. We have fun too.
Exactly. Pull-up game real strong. We're gonna pull up and make sure each other are right. And I can appreciate that because I haven't always had those type of people in my corner. So I'm grateful and blessed to be a part of the tribe.
And Dr. Jerry's tribe, y'all better come on here. Y'all better come on board. Because we gonna, hey, look, 5-10 years down the road, it ain't gonna be my face out there. It's gonna be Brenda. It's gonna be Paula. It's gonna be Christy. Look, Rita already out there. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I'm always continue to put her on because she's helped me get to where I'm at. You know what I mean? And all the other people, Karen Cherry, you know what I mean? Dr. Nicole Peters and Believing Your Dreams TV. It's so many people, people don't understand the power of reciprocal relationships. Pour out, pour in, pour out, receive in, should I say. You should be always pouring out, but those people you're pouring out to, they should be able to also pour back into you as well.
The one thing that I did learn in this last year is God to remove you from tables you ain't supposed to be at and seat you at tables that's going to elevate you to the next level.
You better say it again. And now, look, it's just like this. Stop going back to those relationships you ask God to remove you from.
Right.
Stop talking them. Let it go. Let it go. So once you ask, Lord, remove these people who are not supposed to be who is not for me on my life, don't go back looking to try to bring them back because you asked them to remove them in the first place.
Exactly.
Pamela Pamela said, now that's a word, Brenda. Oh, I'm laughing because look what Rita say. Those other tables have termites and they will eat away at you.
I promise you. Because if you sit up and you allow negative energy all the time, it's going to consume you.
It will.
And if you cannot remove yourself from that, you're going to become that. I truly believe you become the people that you surround yourself with. So I want to be surrounded by people that are better than me. I can learn something from you.
That's right. It's always if you want to excel, reach up. Don't reach back because you're going backwards. Always reach up. Reach up to where you want to see yourself, because you're going to always continue to elevate. And once you done got to that point, then you look at somebody else and be like, how can I get there? Always evolve.
Exactly.
And there's going to be times where you have to always also reinvent yourself, because somebody's going to be doing the same thing. So it's like, okay, well, then what can I do to make it better or do something different?
I did it. I was in business 2 years with my jewelry stuff, and I was like, you know what? Pump the brakes. It's not working. It's time to do something else. So I started focusing on my 9 to 5. So I elevated myself there to get better at the next thing I'm doing for me.
That's right. Y'all heard it first from Brenda Young. That's right. And if y'all haven't seen, I've had the opportunity, just again, like I said, by me witnessing her growth the past 2 years. Brenda, you couldn't even get her to come to a screen. She was one of those ones that would hide behind a keyboard. And I'm like, oh no, we're not doing that. You cannot get nowhere if you don't come to the forefront. I had to learn that myself. I was always a worker bee. I never wanted to be seen, never wanted to shine. But it's like, well, how you expect other people to be seen, to be shining? That's like you being a hypocrite. You can't be sitting here preaching one thing, but then you doing something totally different. So I had to learn to come from behind the screen too. So now Brenda is from behind the screen. Y'all see her evolving. She's doing great things. This woman has 2 books she's been a part of. And oh, by the way, I'm just gonna put it out there. She working on another book. We're not gonna say what the name of that book is, but she working on another book. So y'all be on the lookout for that probably towards the end of the year or jumping off the first beginning of 2023.
It's coming. It's coming.
Oh yeah, it's coming because I'm holding her accountable.
Yeah.
Y'all know.
Every day she like, hey, you been writing? Mm-hmm. How far you got? You been writing?
That's right. So Brenda, thank you so much just for being a part of not just the Dr. Jerry's tribe and allowing me to mentor you, but more so, it's always an honor to be able to have you in my presence, just to share your heart, your story. You know, anytime I'm involved in something, so somebody can get a word, because we all have different experiences. We all have different ways of helping people cope and maneuver and deal with things. And tonight, you know, I'm sure not only me, but other people have learned, you know, some things from you tonight. So thank you so much for being on the show. Is there anything else that you want to say before we actually conclude tonight's show?
Just keep going. You got it. Don't let nobody stop you from being the best you that you can be, no matter who it is.
That's right. That's right. Rita says, go Brenda. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the Dr. Yolanda Jerry Show. Again, if you're just tuning in, we talked with Brenda Young tonight as she shared her heart about how I smiled through depression, which means she smiled through depression, and how, you know, she had to go through various seasons of her life and she suppressed depression. And one day it actually got to a point to where she was at a tipping point and she had to make sure that she took care of herself. And she dropped some nuggets on how she took care of herself and how she continues to take care of herself today. So if you missed it, go back and watch the replay on Facebook or also on YouTube. And if you're looking to be a guest or you want to sow a seed into the show, you can follow Dr. Yolanda Jerry on IG and Facebook at YG Empowers. You can go to my website if you want to be a guest on my show at www.IamYolandaJerry.com. And if you just want to support the show, you can send Cash App or you can send a PayPal. Just to keep the show running, you know, or whatnot. So thank you so much for being supportive tonight. Thank you again, Brenda Young. And I want to say, if nobody has told you that they love you today, I'm going to tell you that I love you. But most of all, God loves you. Thanks again for tuning in. And we'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, be blessed.